What can happen is if an insurance company experiences a large exposure of claims in a certain area, they are allowed to raise the rates 3, 4, 5% for everybody in that region. So they cannot, even the person that didn't get affected by the storm that's maybe further in coast, they're going to see that same raise in their premium, 3 or 4 or 5%, whatever's determined. So how they actually get a decrease in their premium is once we put on the new roof and the roof is brought up to current building code, the premiums can actually go down because the insurance companies actually view the roof as a lower risk now. A newer roof costs less money to insure now. So that is how we offer some contractors actually offer free wind mitigation inspections after the roof is completed, which shows the roof has been brought up to current building code. That is then supplied to the insurance company. They then can offer credits for that new roof being installed.
And you offer the roof mitigation as well?
Correct, we do. Ouron does that, correct.
What do you think a lot of people do? They make the biggest mistake when there's a storm that comes through. Is it appropriate to call the insurance company first, or should they call you first?
I'll take that one.
And that's John Gallagher.
Jean, I always want us to be a part of that initial inspection if it's possible, so that the adjuster who's in a big hurry with a huge file load isn't missing details. But sometimes there's not enough contractors to go around to walk with the adjuster to point out all the damage. So ideally, if you can wait a week or two, then have the contractor, have Ouron with your adjuster. Now, if you have a tree on your house and it's got to be removed and there's a life safety issue, do what you need to do to mitigate further damages. And we can always backtrack. But I'm a believer that there's less wreckage, less ripples down the road when we can walk and get the scope of work figured out correctly the first time. Mm-hmm. And adjusters look at us like we're helping them do their job when we point stuff out. Hey, the fascia. Hey, the screen enclosure. Look at the windows over here. The roof and these accessories and the mailbox. When we point all this out, it helps speed his job up, and we end up doing a lot of his file work. So some people are afraid to have the two of us out there together. We try to be a friend to the adjuster.
And so you really take care of more than just a roof. All the surrounding things like gutters and windows and so forth, you can also take care of for them.
Yeah, we like for it to be a real complete claim. Mm-hmm. A roof with new gutters is a beautiful roof. I look better than the neighboring one who just reset his gutters when the contractor does that. If there's a leak onto the inside from wind-driven rains or there's a hole in the roof, then we'll repair the ceiling, the walls, the flooring. We do lots of stuff as a general contractor in the restoration world.
So you're really there to sell all the claim to the claim adjuster who may or may not understand all the scope of things. So it's good to have you out there ahead of time, because most roofing companies, just straight roofing companies, they just come in and do the roof and they'll send you whatever information you need, but they're really not involved that much with the insurance adjusters. Is that correct?
That's right. Okay. I'll let you want any
Sure.
more of that?
Sure. Come on, John Miller.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's several reasons why, a restoration contractor like Ouron makes sense. I can just give a couple examples. During the roofing process, the roofers are tearing off the roof. Let's say they run into some bad plywood, for example. That's an unforeseen condition. That's something that we can't predict. During our inspection, we may be walking across the roof and feel a soft spot, but we can't predict that there's going to be 3, 4, 5, or possibly 10 sheets of bad plywood. Oftentimes in a re-roof, that expense, the $40 or $50 or $60 a sheet that the contractor charges, that actually ends up getting passed on to the homeowner. The great thing with Ouron and a restoration contractor is we will document that damaged plywood, and we will actually supplement the insurance company. We have ways and documentation ways and codes that we use to put the insurance company on hook for that bad plywood, so the cost is not being passed on to the homeowner. Our agreement specifically states in bold and underline that Ouron will complete the scope of work, the insurance scope of work, for the cost of your deductible. So that is your only out-of-pocket cost as the homeowner, and we guarantee that, and it's in our contract. So if we run across unforeseen conditions, bad plywood, we have the expertise to be able to pass that cost on to the insurance company and not the homeowner that your typical roofer may do.
Right, and when an insurance adjuster comes out, he's going to kind of ballpark it, and it may or may not cover what he comes out, the final total, but you're going to be more of an expert at being able to help him identify some of those claims.
Correct. Yeah. So we've already had time on the roof and walking around the home prior during our inspection. We've got a lot more hours and a lot more invested in the property and the homeowner's claims. So the insurance adjuster, he's been stacked up with 10 or 15 files that he's going to throughout that day inspecting. So he's not taking the time to really look in detail and discover all the damages. So it's great to have a restoration contractor involved, get them out to do their couple hour, 30-minute inspection, whatever it may be, document all the damages properly, have some good photo documentation ready for the adjuster when he comes out, have an estimate ready for him. And that way, then at the point when the adjuster comes out, it's more of a checklist that you guys are going through now to guide through instead of trying to discover the damage at that point when the adjuster comes for his inspection.
I think, Carolyn, you had a question for them.
Yeah, thank you, Jean. I was curious. One of the good questions is you already have I've already patched my roof. Could I still qualify for full replacement through an insurance claim if it was already patched?
Yeah, a lot of folks mitigated their lost shingles after the storm. They had a handyman, tack them back up there, and now they want to know, hey, do I qualify for full replacement because I see my neighbors getting full re-roofs? Mm-hmm. Let us go look at it, and we'll see if, based on the age of the roof and some collateral damages that may have occurred when they were feathering those repair shingles, if it caused more damage, and then we can take that case to the adjuster and say, look, the homeowner did the right thing, mitigated further damage with the help of this handyman, but because it doesn't match, we want to get a full re-roof. We have a matching statute in Florida, and we noticed that it creased the shingles around the repair spot, so we don't want to create more damage in trying to do a good thing. So for that reason, we deem the roof as unrepairable and brittle. So we're asking for a full re-roof. And so I would rather people not get the handyman to patch it if they can. I'd rather have them just tarp it. Mm-hmm. But if they do get that guy to do a repair, we can go and see if they can still have that full re-roof. Thanks for that question, Carolyn.
Yeah, thank you, Sean.
And I know right after a storm, if there's safety issues, you want the homeowner to take care of that. Get the tarp on the roof if it's leaking and so forth, because as fast as you can get there, you're going to get there, but it might not be the next day. And the same with the adjuster. So they need to keep in mind safety first, whatever they need to do. What other tips could you tell someone after a storm they need to do while they're waiting for the adjuster and waiting for your advice?
I think you said it brilliantly. You know how when a storm moves through, it might be clear for a day or two? You don't need to do anything then if you have someone on the way. So don't get up there yourself if you're not able to. But if someone can get up there and use felt products or roofing products or tarps with sandbags, it's better to attach a tarp with a sandbag and use gravity and strings to hold it down, ropes. If you have to tack it down, go ahead and tack it down. But I don't have a lot of advice with that. Just try to stop the water. Some people get in their attic and put pans under where the water might be dripping if they have rain coming in. And it's an obligation of the policy to mitigate damages. And like you said, life safety is real important, so do what it takes.
Mm-hmm. Have you got some information on different types of roofing and how you advise people on maybe where they live, closer to the coast, what kinds of roofs they need as far as dimensional shingles or metal roofs or any other kinds of information on roofing in general, product-wise?
Since we're usually dealing with claims, just like with your vehicle, you're entitled to like, kind, and quality, which means if I have an architectural dimensional shingle, I'm entitled to an architectural dimensional shingle. I'm not entitled to an automatic metal upgrade. Mm-hmm. I'm only a fan of certain metal roofs, and they happen to be the more expensive metal roofs that the fasteners are concealed, like the standing seams. Exposed fastener metal roofs don't thrill me because they require maintenance. But a good shingle roof is a concealed fastener roof. They're hidden by the shingle above in lap style, what we call shingle style. So I'm a lover of the architectural dimensional shingle. when folks have 3 tabs, which is the workhorse of the industry, but they're being phased out, Alron automatically upgrades you to this other shingle because it qualifies for 130 mile an hour wind resistance.
Wow.
With 6 nails per shingle like Florida requires. So I usually advise people to go right back to shingles, even though John and I have done 500,000 feet of concrete and clay tile, which is a lot. Yeah. That's 10 acres worth of concrete tile that we've done through Florida. We still think people's better value, unless they want to go into the money, the investment of, I'll tell you where I think we advise people with roof product. These underlayments now are special. These peel and
Let's
sticks.
talk about that, because a lot of people don't realize it's not the shingles that are keeping the rain out.
Yeah.
It's your underlayment.
So those shingles are good, and these other products are good that are your roof covering that aesthetically please you. But some of these underlayments are so fantastic, like these peel and sticks. So we like to recommend to people, if you're going to put a little money somewhere, put it in a nice underlayment under this shingle. That way, if your shingles blow off in the next storm, that underlayment's not. It'll delaminate that plywood before it blows off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think of plywood versus a press board? And then I want Jonathan to ask a question. Is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. So in our heads, we think plywood's better, and that OSB, oriented strand board, is not as good. But there's arguments about that. And when press board is handled right, it's a fantastic product. The orientations go in a lot of different ways, whereas the laminations on plywood go, you might have a 5-ply plywood. So if it's done right, it can make a nice roof deck. But for the couple dollars difference, and when I'm doing a roof job, most plywood will replace typically 5 or 10 sheets. That's a lot. Usually it's 1 or 2 sheets. When I go to do that, why would I save a couple dollars on OSB if I can do plywood? Mm-hmm. And some of these older homes around here have good plank board, dimensional boards, 1x6s, 1x12s. So I like plywood better out of prejudice.
Mm-hmm. We only have a couple minutes left. Jonathan, you had a question for them.
Yeah, well, we were talking off air before, and you had alluded to it here with the free inspections, and call us out and we'll check it out. And of course, there's no cost, no obligation. Who would you recommend call? Again, I'm a real estate broker and real estate attorney, but wearing my broker hat and helping people buy and sell homes. So that's the market I work in, and I have people who are going to sell their home, and their home is aging, and we often have on this show recommended sellers get a pre-listing inspection so that they know what's wrong with the property beforehand. I'm not sure if that plays into your situation or if you guys, your inspection is strictly post-storm related, or would we have you out for people selling their home?
So for typical selling their home, they could have us out and we would come out and look. But everyone in this area is post-storm. Right. So everyone in probably our listening area, I'm not sure how that works, is for all of Florida, is eligible for that.
Okay.
John, what do you think? Or Gene, what do you think?
I think, as far as a seller, we help many clients, many customers that are selling their home that, a lot of people will say after we're done with the process, hey, this actually turned out to be a blessing for us. Our roof was 17 years old. We were looking at replacing it in the next few years. And now for the cost of our deductible, we got to replace that roof. And especially those people that are selling their home, then that just happened to increase the value of their home at that point as well.
That's great information. And if you can give out your contact information so that our listeners can call you for exactly the purpose.
Absolutely. So the best phone number to call is 321-626 9596. Wynn will answer the phone. She'll ask you a few questions. She'll schedule Sean or myself or one of our certified inspectors to come out and take a look, and we will give you recommendations.
Well, thank you. You've been listening to John Miller and Sean Gallagher. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us with Alron Construction, LLC. And they're storm chasers, and they can help you with all your storm damages. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. And thank you, Carolyn Wolf with Certified Mortgage Planners. And again, give out your information, Carolyn.
Thank you, Jean. Real quick, it's 321-795-9103 is the best way.
Good. Thank you so much. And John Lack with Lack & Lack Chartered.
You can be reached at area code 321-953-5115. And also check out our new website for Waterview Realty, which is waterviewre.com.
Thank you, everyone, for listening today. And for further information, you can